Welcome into Golf with Jay Delsing. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Our guest coming up is Nathan Charnes. He is the VP of the PGA of America, the general manager at Winghaven Country Club. Jay, always great to be with you. Let's get it going.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Look at, we're on video. Wow.
So let's talk about Nathan Charnes.
Yes.
What is his responsibility with the PGA of America?
Well, so first of all, besides being a really cool human, just in general, he's the first guy from the Gateway section here in St. Louis that's ever held national office. And the way it works is they start Danny for 2 years as their secretary, then 2 years as the vice president, and then 2-year term as the president. So he's in the beginning of his second year of his vice presidency. So right about this time next year in 2027, he'll be a president for 2 years.
Now, one of the things I'm sure we'll get into is the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
That is a huge responsibility on his plate.
Oh, it is. And every time
I know where you're going with
I
this.
know, I got to stop. Look, it's a great event. It's one of the keystones in golf. I mean, it happens every other year, and we keep losing, and it pisses me off. I don't like it, and I want to get the red, white, and blue back on top, man.
I know you do. I wonder what he does daily, if at all, preparing for this, or when he amps it up and says, okay, I got to get ready because it's going to be in about a year and a half again here in the United States, and you start thinking about what you have to do to get this thing ready. It's a huge undertaking, not just with the golf itself and trying to win, but also the experience for the fans too.
Well, absolutely. And then Danny, that's part of the thing where you wonder, like, how much input does the PGA of America have in us winning? I mean, because they're basically setting it up, they're selling tickets, they're preparing the venues, and so a lot of the responsibility has fallen on the U.S. captains, and that's where I think we need a little bit of a tweak. I really do. The captains just are not accustomed to handling this much stuff. They're golfers and they play all the time, and there's so much on their plate between data and metrics and things like that, and getting that right, that it's a lot. And so I'd love to see someone from the PGA of America kind of be a full-time CEO. He or she that works on this 24/7. The end at Bethpage happened in September, and then we go to Adair Manor, and that's in 2027. And this person is full steam ahead every single day working on that.
So one of the things, too, I'm sure we'll get into is the merchandise show. You were down there in Orlando, and
Awesome.
The PGA of America is down there showing what they have, trying to show people what they're doing, their initiatives.
Yep.
That'll be interesting, too, to see what he has to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I was down there, Danny. I haven't been down there in probably 10 or 12 years, whatever. It's been a while.
How much did it change?
Oh, my gosh. First of all, there's over 1 million square feet of golf stuff under roof. And, I mean, you want to talk about, first thing, if you ever go down there, folks, wear comfortable shoes. It's a lot of walking. It is a lot of walking. But, I mean, there were things down there, Danny, things that stuck out in my mind. There were pickleball courts. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're at a golf show, but you start thinking about country clubs, and all of them have pickleball courts now because the craze of pickleball has become so popular. It's also filling up all of our emergency rooms and keeping doctors handy because all of us old guys are going down. But it's another value add in the golf space, so you have country clubs, they have membership, and they're trying to take care of these members and offer them state-of-the-art stuff. So pickleball was one of the things that was present. I mean, they had people playing, they had different types of courts, Danny, different material for the courts. It was pretty cool. There were recovery lounges where they've got people laying down in these almost like bed-like things, Danny, where the sides come up and they're massaging them, and I don't know. I was like, I'm not down for that. I don't know. I'm out. I'd rather go to the 19th hole.
I know.
You know what I mean? We'll just go to the 19th hole and get that worked out there.
I think one of the things that is hard for the casual golf fan to differentiate is the PGA Tour separate from the PGA of America. I think people just hear PGA and they lump that whole thing in together. And it's not.
No, exactly right. And so a couple of years ago, the PGA of America came out and changed their logo. And we had Nathan on the show. We talked about that. But so just for the differentiation, the PGA Tour broke away from the PGA of America in the middle to late 60s. I think it was 1967. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, the stars said, you know what? We need to have our own entity. We'll run the golf tournaments. We'll break away from the PGA of America. And because at the time, Danny, the Ryder Cup really wasn't that meaningful because the U.S. at the time it was only Great Britain and Ireland versus America, and so the U.S. would just roll. I mean, they very seldom ever lost. The Jack and Arnold and the bastions of golf said to the PGA of America, "You take the Ryder Cup. You have this. We'll take this, and we'll go our separate ways." That's when the two split. Little did anyone know what the Ryder Cup would become. And that was also because Jack and Arnold said it was in the probably, Danny, the late 70s. They said, listen, we've got guys like Bernard Langer. We've got Seve Ballesteros, Jose Maria Olazabal, all of these great international stars that don't have a home to play because it's not competitive, we need to make the Great Britain and Ireland team all of Europe. And that changed everything. Yep. It absolutely changed everything. It also takes the Scandinavian countries. Sweden and those guys are turning out great players now. And so it's become what it is. And the PGA Tour, Danny, is a separate entity. Our headquarters are in Jacksonville, Florida, and we play golf for a living. That's what we do. The PGA of America, on the other hand, they run the Ryder Cup, they run the PGA Championship, and then their members, and it's somewhere up in the 33,000 number, D, those guys run golf. They're the real ambassadors of golf. They're running driving ranges, country clubs, munis, whatever it is. Those members of the PGA organization are taking care of the game. They're the guys that are getting the range ready in the morning, bringing the carts out, making sure your clubs are clean, running the tournaments, all of that stuff. They are really doing the day-to-day warrior sort of thing for golf.
I want to hear what Nathan has to say about Aronimink, which is one of the host sites coming up. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Bandon Dunes is another one. So they've never been to Bandon Dunes,
Have you been to Bandon Dunes?
I have not. I've had friends that have gone there.
But it is now it's impossible to get to.
Right.
It's like planes, trains, and automobiles. It is. You get into Portland, and it's like 4 hours from Portland. But when you get there, you're like, oh my gosh, lock me in. It is beautiful. I think there's 6 courses now with another one on the horizon. This is the Michael Kaiser and his family started this years and years ago, and that's Bandon. I know the women's PGA Championship, Danny, is at Hazeltine up in Minneapolis, which the Ryder Cup was there. It's another great Midwestern golf community. So they've got a hell of a menu of golf courses.
Let me ask you that. You get concerned at all about Bandon Dunes and the weather with the rain, the wind?
If I was playing, I sure as hell would.
I know you would.
I played out there in I took a group out there when my company was still alive, Danny, and that was one of the 5 worst weather days I'd ever been in. I was with this group, and I don't have to keep score, so I don't care.
Yeah.
And I said, boys, whatever you want. You want to keep playing? I'm in. You want to go in? We can tell stories. We can have a cocktail, whatever you want. They're like, no, we came this far. Let's go play. So Danny, I'm standing over this has never happened before. I'm standing over my tee shot on 18. It's a reachable par 5. I've got 2 rain gloves on. Water is pouring off of my hat, down my sleeves, because I'm setting up to the ball like this, into my gloves. It's like I'm going to swing and this driver is going to go flying out of it. We had fun. It was really challenging.
The other thing I want to get into with Nathan certainly would be about PGA Reach and PGA Hope.
Oh, yeah.
Just the charitable arm of what the PGA of America does, which is huge.
It's huge. And PGA Hope, Danny, we talk about it all the time, is a game changer for our veterans. It's a game changer. It says it's saving lives, and people think that might be a little we're exaggerating. It's not. I've seen it firsthand. The other thing we don't want to forget about is the PGA Junior League.
I was just going to bring that up.
They do great stuff, and we both love junior golf, the Evans Scholarship, and things like that for the youngsters. And the PGA Junior League is a game changer. It's more of a team concept, so kids are playing a scramble with their buddies. They wear uniforms and they have numbers on their shirts and stuff, so they don't necessarily have to be intimidated about playing the game.
Something that he probably gets asked about nonstop is the rollback of the golf ball, which is happening in 28, I believe.
Yeah,
Is it
now
28,
there's
29?
now there's word about maybe pushing it back to 2030, and so I don't know.
Are you in on this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, don't make the game harder for John Q. Public. Our numbers are great. It's a hard game anyway. I don't like it.
Yeah, I wonder what it's going to be like how much yardage. Like on the PGA Tour, it's not, I mean, so what? You roll it back 5 yards, 7 yards, big deal. But for the average golfer out there, the weekend warrior, it's a tough deal.
We don't want the average guy to lose 1 yard.
Right.
We don't.
We need to add.
We need to add yardage, right? Soup up the golf ball for them.
But that's what makes it interesting is how much they're going to roll this thing back. And then to keep the ball uniform for college players and for the pros and then for the average golfer. It's just going to be interesting.
Well, people would say, dude, just have 2 balls. And then all of a sudden you have 2 sets of rules. It's this term called bifurcation. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. First of all, nobody plays by the rules anyway.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to have 2 sets of rules, it'll be a free-for-all. Plus, Danny, could you imagine the PGA of America professionals at your country club trying to sort out the balls?
Right.
I mean, they've got all these old balls here. Now the new balls are coming in. How do you regulate? Are you playing the right ball in the club championship?
Exactly.
Nightmare.
That's the biggest question I
know.
have. Okay, the final thought I want to get into with Nathan will be about the new CEO.
Yeah.
So that's interesting what they're going to do with the PGA of America and a new CEO coming in. What do you want to see from that CEO?
I want to see I want to see someone that's got quite a bit of business acumen. I mean, this is a big deal. Danny, we're talking about tens and even hundreds of millions of dollars in the long run with the PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup. I mean, it just generates a ton of money. You really got to get this thing organized and get your hands around running this thing. It is a thing all to itself. It's a business all to itself.
That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Coming up, Nathan Charnes, the VP of the PGA of America, General Manager at Winghaven Country Club. You are listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. Back on Golf with Jay Delsing, coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. Our guest is Nathan Charnes. He is the VP of the PGA of America, also the General Manager at Winghaven Country Club. You have been busy. You were down at the merchandise show, but great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Always great to be here with you on the show.
Nathan, I hadn't been to the merch. We got to start with the merch show. I haven't been to the merch show in probably 10 or 12 years, and I was so impressed. First of all, the sheer volume, and second of all, there was some really interesting, innovative stuff.
Yeah, it's really amazing. There actually, soon after the pandemic, there was discussion of if the PGA show needed to continue. Is there going to be that need for the trade shows in the future? And we're so grateful that we stuck with it because we continue to have records year over year. Even this year, there's over 1 million square feet of vendor space. That's a lot. That's a huge commitment from the vendors. We had more than 30,000 people a day. More than 7,000 of our PGA members were there, and it's more than a merchandise show. There's networking, there's education, and a lot of the golf professionals treat it as an opportunity. Most of them in the off season, not all, but they take their staff down. They play golf. They do education. They do buying for the year. It's just it's a one-stop shop for everything golf, and it's a great kickoff for the year for PGA golf professionals.
So how many people, hold on, how many people?
Yeah.
More than 30,000 per day walk through the halls of the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando.
That's amazing.
My first day that I went in there, the line to get in was 45 minutes long, where you had to get your creds and things like that. And Nathan, it says merchandise show, but I was really impressed by the networking. So I hadn't, old and stuff. I haven't seen some of my friends in 20, 25 years, and it was like, old home week.
Yeah,
I mean, it was really fun.
It really is, and it's turned into such it's a global event for golf. It really is. When you look at the PGA professionals, the partners, the sponsors, the different allied associations that come, who's who of golf comes there for that week for many different reasons. And in a way, it's kind of a celebration of golf, and a lot of business is done, a lot of fun is had, and it's a great week, and we're just so blessed to be a part of it.
Danny, there's a putting green that's, I don't know how big it is, but it's the biggest putting green I've ever seen indoor, and it is loaded with all the manufacturers. So how cool is it if you see a new putter, you're like, I'm going to go hit some putts. There were pickleball courts in there where they were trying to show people, hey, this is a value add you can bring to your club. There were some of the tech with some of the massage chairs.
Everything.
Nathan, I couldn't, it's not just hey, here's some golf balls, here's some new shoes. It's like anything you could ever even massage into golf, it was there.
That's right. Or anything you can massage into a country club.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at clubs and what they're investing in, what they're doing for their, for their members or for their guests or their customers, everything is there. And then more, even if you're building something, if you're, the IT behind it, the point of sale systems, like literally everything that could be connected to any way, shape, or form in the golf industry, the club business is there that week. And it is. And it starts on Wednesday. There is a demo day. Tuesday. Tuesday's the demo day, which is more of your traditional outside event where a lot of the vendors set up. You can hit the product, things of that nature. But the actual PGA show at the convention center is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And then you guys threw a concert in just for good measure, which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah, so I think that's the third year of the concert, and they always bring in a famous artist to play, and it is for PGA Hope. It's a concert that is designed to support one of our 3 pillars of our PGA Reach Foundation. So it's a cool thing on Thursday nights, and this year was Dustin Lynch playing there, and he actually played a lot. He played a good amount of songs. There was an opening act, and then he played for, I want to say, an hour and a half maybe to a kind of a smaller group that you would expect for a concert. But that's also inside the convention center. They set up a concert stage.
That place is massive. You could breadcrumbs, Danny Mac. If you and I were there, we'd be lost.
What's your responsibilities in something like that? What's it like day to day?
Yeah, so it's actually, for me and my role on the board, especially as an officer, it is the busiest week of the year for me because we have a lot of meetings. We kick off the week. We have a 2-day conference with all the sections, the executive directors of the 41 sections, and a lot of their staff. So each of them come in. They typically do a golf event and then a couple days of meetings, and we kick off the week with that. And then we transition into just all the business of the PGA. So it's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of meetings with vendors, partners, sponsors, PGA sections, also with a lot of the allied associations. We have a leadership luncheon where a lot of the leaders of all the allied groups are there. We have a global PGA meeting where all the PGAs from around the world that are part of the PGA Alliance, most of them come in and we meet with them. So it literally is. It's kind of meeting after meeting, sometimes 2 in an hour, where we're bouncing around going to all these meetings. Busiest week of the year, but the good news is it's all right there. A lot of the functions we go to, you might have to drive somewhere, take a bus, go to different locations at a hotel, convention center, maybe a golf course, but at least it's all there at the convention center. So you're just, you get in a lot of steps walking around. But steps. It's a lot of meetings and functions.
What are those meetings about?
Everything. I mean, everything and anything. It could be about certain programs with the PGA of America right now that we're trying to fine tune for our members related to education or employment. It could be strategic planning with the sections, with our staff, with some of our leaders. It could be media related. We talk about our media focus, what our media strategies are going to be this year. We had a meeting with our global PGAs that we have 2 per year. We always have one at the PGA show because almost all of them come in for that. And we talk about all the topics affecting the global PGA, with different parts of that right now. We have a lot of meetings related to PGA Reach. I chair the PGA Reach Foundation board in my role right now, so I had a lot of meetings with some of our trustees and some of our partners and some of the things we're trying to do with PGA Reach in the future. And then, there's a lot of reach outs come and people want to get together, even if it's for 15 minutes to talk about something.
Nathan, one of the things that I was impressed about is that you guys have started to develop a retirement plan and stuff for the
compensation.
And it's really cool because that was never a thing in the past. And that says volumes to where I think just the organization has grown. And then when you start thinking about 31,000 members, et cetera, now all of a sudden we may not lose some good people to better paying jobs because that's a thing now.
Yeah, and we're always trying to drive more value to our members. At the end of the day, the PGA is a member-based association, and we have these wonderful assets like the PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup, and we try to leverage those and drive value to the association or to our mission. That's really the main thing that we try to do. And deferred compensation is the 3rd year now that I think it's been out, and it's great. Our PGA members can do certain things, check some boxes, and get some money distributed into a retirement account. And for our younger PGA members, it could be a game changer as that money grows and accrues over the next however long, 20, 30 years. But it's a great way for us to do that. And a lot of the stuff they're already doing, it's teaching or coaching programs or mentoring or being involved in communities. that now they can fill out the form and get some money because it's connected to our mission. So it allows us to kind of feed them the funds through their retirement account. So it's a great program.
Nathan Charnes is our guest, VP of the PGA of America, General Manager at Winghaven Country Club. You mentioned media strategies, so I get interested about that. What are the media strategies for the PGA of America?
So I think every year we look at how we're telling our stories and what we're doing good and what we could be doing better. I think one of the things that we learned post Ryder Cup last year is that we could be a little bit more strategic in how we share some of the messages of what we do, of what, related as an example for the Ryder Cup, the stipend that we give the players and the good that money does in communities for a lot of these players. Share more of those stories or some of the stories about our PGA members. So I think overall this year, we're just going to try to be more strategic in telling our story. I think any organization or any association has challenges with the media, and sometimes things can be taken the wrong way. So we want to be more intentional in how we share those stories, because we do want to share who the PGA of America is, what our mission is, but also how we support communities and grow golf and do good things for the game. That's really what we're about.
And it's hard to stay on point sometimes because you get these questions and it's, and you kind of wander into the stuff. How long has it been since we changed the logo? Because that was a huge, there was a huge media push behind that, because there's always been confusion between PGA Tour,
right,
and PGA, so people use the term PGA, and it kind of, in the past they've kind of globbed all of us together,
right,
and it's not really the case.
That's right. Yeah, and it's been a few years since we changed it the last time. It's been through a few variations over the years, and there always, I think, is going to be that confusion of us and the PGA Tour, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it definitely gets in the way of us trying to do what we're trying to do, but that's always going to be the case to an extent. But it's interesting. I think that when we look at media and going forward, it's not that we want to be argumentative. We just want to be more intentional about sharing our story and some of the cool things that we're doing, for the game of golf and for our members.
Yeah, one of those things is PGA Reach. You mentioned that you're intimately involved with that. Explain what you're doing and what PGA Reach is all about.
So I chair our PGA Reach Foundation board now for the next 3 years. PGA Reach is our 501c3, and it's got three main pillars. PGA Works, which brings people with diverse backgrounds into the business of golf through fellowships at a local level. We've got PGA Junior League Golf, which many people know. It's the golf tournaments that are based off that Little League model where teams from each club will play other teams. You've seen the national championship on ESPN, but we do some opportunity leagues in certain parts of the country, as well as scholarships for kids that might not be able to have the means to do that. That's a part of PGA Reach. And then probably the one that most people know is PGA Hope. It's our program where we teach military veterans golf. It's a great way for them. These are people that are mentally or physically in a difficult place from their service, and now we can teach them golf and get them out. And we love to say that it truly saves lives, because it's a program that is just so impactful for all these military veterans across the country. So those are the three main pillars of PGA Reach. And what we're trying to do right now is truly identify, at the end of the day, it's a new foundation. It's only about 10 years old. And we need to strategically have a plan for the next 5, 10, 15 years in partnership with the PGA of America and, of course, all of our PGA Reach trustees.
Give me an example of PGA Hope, because we love our veterans and appreciate what they do. How does it impact their lives?
So imagine veterans that are in a tough place, that sit around and don't do much, and they have an opportunity for free to go to a golf course with fellow veterans and a PGA golf professional who's certified in adaptive coaching, so they know how to teach people that have physical, mental limitations. Some of them are missing limbs. But imagine these people that are in a way struggling to find something to give them a purpose or something to do, that they have this ability to learn golf, get outside and enjoy it with friends, with fellow veterans that are in the same place. And we have story after story of how this program has given them a purpose. It's given them something to be excited for. It's gotten them out of the house. It makes them smile. I could share so many videos about these great stories of PGA Hope and the roughly 15,000 veterans we serve each year through this program. And we have 3 or 4 here locally in St. Louis. Every section has some that have these programs, and it's all funded through our foundation, PGA Reach. So it takes obviously our PGA golf professionals to administer, to teach these programs, but it's truly a special program.
I could tell you, Danny, so getting to do stuff with David Faraday and Troops First, and then the PGA Reach. There was on the 13th tee at Norwood for the Ascension Charity Classic, and now the Stiefel Charity Classic. The veterans, they kind of have volunteered for that hole, so that is their hole. And I've become friendly with this gentleman, Rob Rosner, and what he's told me is that it's so nice for them to have something on their schedule to do. They're used to, in their military background, they were part of a team. They were told what to do. At 0600 we're getting up at by 8 o'clock we're doing this exercise, and when they come back into normal society, they don't have. It's hard for them to assimilate. Like, what should I get a job? Like, what do I do? I've got some mental issues, or some of them, like Nathan said, I played golf with some guys that one guy had no left leg and no left arm because he hit some, thing and really literally got blown up. But he's got prosthesis, and they've got these adaptive equipment that will hook to his where his real part of his body is, and they can turn, they can pivot, and they can hit the ball, and it is amazing. And the one thing I'll say about our veterans and our heroes, because they really are heroes, their attitudes are ridiculous. I mean, they're ridiculous. And to a man and a woman, they would say to us, we'd go back over there and fight if they'd let us. Yeah. I mean, they love the country, and their motto is freedom isn't free, which you and I talk about all the time, because look at some of the sacrifices that they made. And so when you start putting golf into this situation, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a home run.
Yeah, it is. And I would encourage anybody, just Google PGA Hope or go to YouTube. There's so many wonderful videos out there to show the impact and hope. It's obviously, it stands for, helping our patriots everywhere. That's where the kind of the acronym is in PGA Hope. But it is, it's an amazing program.
How about some of the new initiatives with the PGA of America? What are you working on?
So right now, as of today, currently, the last couple of months, it's hiring a new CEO. So we're in the process where a few months ago we announced that Derek Sprague, our CEO, was leaving the PGA of America. He's got some. He's going to help take care of some family, some situations back home in the New York area. And once Derek and the board, discussed that in early December, we immediately went into the process to find a new CEO. We also have a couple other of our executive positions that are open at the same time. Craig Kessler left last year to be the commissioner of the LPGA Tour. And Jeff Price, our chief commercial officer, left at the end of last year to be the first CEO of the Heisman Trophy Trust. So we have a couple of our, C-suite or executive positions that are open. We're currently trying to fill, and now our CEO. So that's probably our focus, number one. And in the coming days, if not the coming weeks, we're going to be happy to announce our next CEO for the PGA of America. And this person's going to get in there and help build that team. That's probably the most important. And we're really excited about the announcement coming very soon about our next CEO.
And we'll get into that in just a moment. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. Back on Golf with Jay Delsing, Nathan Charnes is our guest, the VP of the PGA of America, General Manager at Winghaven Country Club. You mentioned that there'll be a new CEO with the PGA of America. How about the criteria? What were you looking for in that role?
So we didn't do this time around. We just hired Derek 18 months ago. We didn't feel like, due to a lot of things going on with the association and in the golf business right now, we didn't have time to do a long search. Plus, we had already done that not too long ago. The board identified a few candidates that they thought would be a great fit, and so we immediately engaged, and we did a kind of a process with the board of directors. And then, we landed on the current CEO, or the one that we're getting ready to announce any day now. And this individual is very successful in business, but also has a connection to sport. He's very well known in the golf scene as well. So we believe he's going to be just an amazing individual to bring everything together for us and everything that's going on in the PGA of America. It's
a big job, and with Derek, I guess. Nathan, let's walk back a little bit, the history of the CEO, because we had Seth Wall before, but there wasn't always a CEO, was there?
There wasn't, and I don't know the exact year, but I think, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the CEO, I believe, started back in the late 70s or the early 80s. Yeah. And that was when golf, there was definitely a change in golf, in the business of golf. And at the time, the PGA of America had a board of directors that was pretty much running the day-to-day of the PGA of America. And it was identified, 30 years ago, whatever the date was, that we needed an executive team to run the business of the PGA of America. And over the years, we've had, a few in the role of CEO, from Joe Steranka to Pete Bavacqua, Seth Waugh was one, Derek Sprague, and then, of course, now our next one we're getting ready to announce here in the coming days. But it's the PGA of America, at the end of the day, it is a massive global business that requires a highly skilled executive team to work with our board of directors to manage and govern and run the business of the association.
Well, when you start thinking about, first of all, the popularity of the game is one thing, and the numbers of the association is another that has grown wildly. But when you start thinking about the popularity of the Ryder Cup, what the value of the Ryder Cup is, then the PGA Championship. I mean, the two entities, if you just look at those two entities, that needs an executive team all to itself almost.
It does. And it's, I've always said that we live in two worlds at the PGA of America. We have our PGA professional side, more than 30,000 golf professionals, and the almost 30 million recreational golfers that we teach, coach, and, play, get them, grow the game and do programs for those golfers. So we're on the recreational side, but we're also on the business side, or the professional golf side of like the PGA Tour is, with our assets, PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup. We're in a unique position where we leverage one for the other, meaning that it's all under the PGA of America, but obviously the PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup help us fund not only those events and all of our spectator championships, all of our professional championships, but also the membership side of the association, because it's all under the same umbrella. So it's kind of exciting to be in both sides of that, but it's also challenging at times.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. And that's why I think it requires a highly skilled executive team to do that, because you do, on one side, you have a multi-million-dollar global business on one side, and then you have a member-based association on the other, and we're charged with blending those two together to grow the game, to serve our mission, to support our members.
That's not easy to find someone that's got kind of both of those initiatives in mind, because it's usually either one or the other. And the what is it, 31,000?
Almost 33 total thousand. Wow. Now that's members plus associates plus registered, people trying to become a PGA member. So I think if you ballpark 32,000 PGA of America golf professionals, it's about 24,000 members. And then the other ones are individuals becoming members.
So it's been growing, and the growth has stayed steady.
It's been growing, yeah.
What's the latest on the golf ball rollback?
Yeah, the golf ball, that conversation's been going on for a number of years now. And I think maybe, I don't remember the last time I was on your show, I think we talked about recreational data. Because us, the USGA, the PGA of Great Britain and Ireland, the PGA Tour, we all agreed we were going to work together to get more data on the recreational golfer. So that came in the fall, and that data, the overall impact on the recreational golfer was less than what originally we had anticipated, even though there still was an impact on there. The impact was greater on the PGA Tour golfer on those results as well. But the current update is the USGA did just put out what they call an AOI. One of the topics was the date, the 2028 for the elite events, and then 2030 for all golfers. And there was a question about how that would work in the industry, especially for us, managing golf facilities with having multiple balls and play at the same time. So the good news on that front is the USGA did, right before the PGA show, they put out their AOI, which is a 30-day comment period where they're considering going to the one date of 2030. So right now, the manufacturers, the Titleists, the Callaways, et cetera, they have an opportunity to provide feedback to the USGA based upon that new AOI over that 30 days. So we're sitting back and waiting to see what they say related to that. I think overall the support is, they're going to support the one date, but they're still going to question the why and the impact on and all that, which will be more conversations to have. But that's where it sits right now. Again, we're happy that the impact on the recreational golfer was less than what we originally thought it was going to be, even though there still is one. We like the idea of one date, but there are still a lot of conversations that we're in with, not just the USGA. There's never been greater conversations amongst all the allied associations. So us, PGA of America, USGA, PGA Tour, Augusta National, PGA of Great Britain and Ireland, we've never had more meetings than we are right now. And that's a good thing, because I think that going forward we'll work together in a great collaborative way on a number of topics. mechanics.
And Nathan, it's fair to say that the manufacturers do not favor bifurcation. They don't want two balls.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants bifurcation. At one point, there was the discussion of should we bifurcate just to make it easier. And some people argue that we're already bifurcating because there are tour players. There's a different golf ball out there that the consumer can't buy. They're playing drivers that nobody can buy, special drivers custom to their swings, and work with the companies on that. So, I mean, on one side, there is a bifurcation that nobody really talks about already, but an overall bifurcation, nobody really is in support of that because there's something special about every golfer being able to go out and play these iconic golf courses and hit the shots where, your icons did, right?
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
It's interesting, too, because bifurcation is just simply having two sets of rules, basically. And when you think about, just talk about the other equipment, like the drivers, and they're not even relevant for the average guy. Because those specifications that a tour player can use to his or her advantage, the average guy, it's not going to matter. They can't, because it's all the swing speed with these tour players has gotten so out of hand. I mean, we were talking about Justin Rose just a couple weeks ago with hitting ball speeds at 45 years old, almost 46 years old, at 180 ball speed. I mean, if you'd have said that 10 years ago, people are going, there's no way that's ever going to happen. And it's only going to ramp up because the athletes are getting bigger, they're stronger, they're getting more dedicated to the power.
Yeah, and like I said, the impact is more on the tour player right now on the data. There is some, on one side of it, if, tour player, they're so good, they could probably do some tweaks potentially to pick up some of those yards. But again, it's an average too. So some of them are losing more yards than others. And I think that's the concern from a lot of the tour players is it's just not equitable. Somebody might lose 2 yards, somebody might lose 15 yards. So that's a PGA Tour concern from the players. But the recreational side, what's interesting, I thought on the last data is that, and I'll try to get it right, but the average recreational male golfer on their tee shot, depending upon if they hit it solid or not, there's like a 20 to 50 yard range already. So the average recreational golfer, 20 to 50 yards based on if they solid. So if this ball is only changing a few yards, it's relatively small compared to the dispersion that is already potentially there on the recreational golfer. But the tour players, they hit every ball solid. Yeah. Like it's unbelievable. People don't understand how good they are. Yeah. And so in general, they don't understand that. But so for them, the impact is greiter.
What's the reaction then to that? Are people in? Are they out? Where are we with this?
The golf ball?
Yeah.
It's still very mixed out there. I think that the USGA has been great through all the conversations, and not just with us. They have accommodated a lot of the requests. Originally, there was a question about the speed, and they took it down. There was a concern about the data. They agreed to doing some data. There was some concern of the date. I just told you about the AOI. So as a whole, when you look at collaboration and working with the allied associations, like the USGA has been great to work with through this. Now, you still, though, have certain people and certain groups and manufacturers that would say, given where it's at today, they still don't know if it's the best thing for golf, just because all these companies are going to spend millions to produce this golf ball, and there's going to be an impact on the consumer for the price. That's a concern of some. And then there's just the overall, the why behind it. Again, the impact on the recreational golfer is showing to be minimal for most. It's an average. But it's still unfortunately, it's still dividing the game a little bit, which is, it's sad because we don't want to be divided. There's a lot of things, like we talk about us, PGA of America, the USGA, and Augusta National is a partnership for drive, chip, and putt. It's a pretty amazing program. We can do some pretty cool things when we're together, and that's what I really just want to come together on, whatever this is, and move forward, because we could do some beautiful things together as allied golf associations. And this one it's becoming divisive. So, I don't want to speak for other associations, but I know we're still debating and talking about it. But again, I do think that the USGA has been good to work with throughout the process, and they're listening, and we're having great conversations, which is good. It's good for the future of the game.
We're peppering you with questions about your role with the PGA of America, but we got to. So Danny and I talk about this all the time on the show, because we'll be out having lunch, or we'll be headed to the gym or going to Norwood, and people stop me and say, how do I hit the ball farther? How do I hit the ball farther? So I'm sure you get asked that a lot. But one of the things we were just talking about is if you can hit the thing like this more often,
solid,
you're going to hit it. You're going to enjoy that better. I mean, it's going to go further and it's going to be much more playable. But we're always looking for a different shaft or a different driver head combination or something.
I remember when I became a PGA member back in 2000. At the time, I think when I was doing the education, they said 90% of your distance is based upon center face impact. Yeah. And that's one 90%. Thing. Like anybody that wants to hit it further, you just got to hit more solid.
Yep.
Like whether you swing hard or swing, you just got to hit more solid, right? So that'll give you so much more.
That's so aggravating too, because everybody's thinking that there's this formula, like, oh, I got to throw salt over my, something like that. But it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
No. Nathan Charnes is our guest, the VP of the PGA of America, general manager at Winghaven Country Club. Next for the professional game, what the PGA of America is working on. What's next? Where are you guys at?
So as it relates to tournaments and events this year, we've got a great lineup. We always have a great lineup, but every year I feel like we're talking about how exciting it is, and we've got a great lineup this year. Well, and to start it off, we've got we made a change with our senior PGA championship. It's going to be a concession in April. It's the week after the Masters. We signed a 3-year deal there, so we're going to be down in concession in Florida right after the Masters for our senior PGA championship. Our PPC, which is our club professional championship, which is our staple event for our club professionals, where the top 20 get a spot in the PGA Championship this year, is out at Bandon Dunes on the West Coast.
Wow, what a treat.
So people are obviously, it's a great place if you haven't been there. It's hard to get to, but once you get there, it's amazing. We've never had the event at a venue like that. So it should be interesting. I've been there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So that's going to be great. That's in late April, early May timeframe. Of course, our PGA Championship this year is at Aronimink, just outside of Philadelphia. Great spot. We're excited to go there for this year's edition of the PGA Championship. And then in June, our Women's PGA Championship is up at Hazeltine, another great spot, great venue.
Great golf community up in Minneapolis.
Great membership, great wonderful. People, great community. I mean, all together, just amazing spot there. So it's a great, exciting layout of events for us. And then in the fall, on non-Ryder Cup years, we have our Women's Cup and our PGA Cup, which is Ryder Cup for our PGA golf professionals. So it's always great to host those events. And the men's PGA Cup is going over to the K Club in Ireland, which will be pretty cool for that. So
that doesn't get a whole lot of ink. Like, I would love to. We'll have to stay up on that and see how that and give that some love to just see how that competition goes.
Are you over the Ryder Cup yet?
Part of it, it's
not to put you on the spot here.
It's interesting because when I look back, when I talk with people about the Ryder Cup, all they talk about is the amazing time they had. I think you've got to get through, and I think that ties into media. We should have done a better job of sharing our story because that event was great. Yes, there's some things that we learned that we could do better. Yes, some of the fans got out of control. But the event itself, that Sunday, was epic. We almost made the greatest comeback in sport, and it was electric. If you were the crowds on 18 and 17 were feeding off of each other between the action they were watching and the TV showing it. Like, it was amazing. And when I talked to some of the guests that I had there, or people or PGA members, like the event was amazing, and they talk about how awesome it was, and to where I think that it almost now isn't about winning or losing. It's just about the event and what it means. And it really was. It was a great event. So I'm definitely celebrating the Ryder Cup, especially for the next one, which I'll go into for a minute. But I think that there's always a bit of I wish we would have won, right? Because you want to be on the winning team. We all do. We're all competitive. Yep. We're all, we want to win. That's just that's nature, right? But I'm really excited about the next Ryder Cup. And because it's the 100th anniversary. The Ryder Cup started in June of 1927 at Worcester Country Club, just outside of Boston, like 45 minutes. And we're already knee-deep in planning for the centennial. So we're going to do a big event in June of 2027 with Worcester Country Club at Worcester Country Club to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Ryder Cup, leading up to the actual Ryder Cup that fall over at Adair Manor in Ireland.
And
go ahead, Jay.
Nathan, just one last thing is that because we got so wrapped up in money with this past Ryder Cup, instead of what everyone was donating to charity. I mean, it just got
stories.
covered. The story just got off,
Yeah,
because it was like, wait a minute, millions of dollars are going to people in need here from this event.
That's right.
And I don't know any of the American players kept any of that money. I think that every single dollar got donated. I mean, it was crazy.
It is. And again, we got to tell the stories, right?
Yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago, Justin Thomas and Cam Young announced that they used some of their dollars from that, and they created a youth Ryder Cup event in South Florida.
Oh, fun.
That the individuals can play in the coming years. They funded that through some of those dollars. Like, there's a lot of those stories, and all the dollars that these players, like the PGA, the US, both sides, but I would say that knowing more so the Team USA, they're good guys.
Oh yeah,
They're good guys, and they all have charities, and they all have. I mean, they obviously they have a job to do, right? And they play for a living, but they're good individuals. They're good human beings. They all give money to charity, and they all gave more money to charity after the Ryder Cup. And there's amazing stories out there about the good that those dollars are doing.
And they all have foundations. Kevin Kisner was on the show, and he talked about the fact that he was going to get some money for he and his wife's foundation. That's 6 or 7 years old, and it goes on down the line. I didn't know about the kids' Ryder Cup. That's
hot off. The presses they announced that through the South Florida PGA, and then did an announcement at the PGA show a couple weeks ago. Put it out on social media.
Love that.
Very cool.
Final question. You said we can do some things better with the Ryder Cup. Can you get into that a little bit? What could you do better?
I just think we learned a lot from the event's gotten so big, and it is challenging because you only have on most days 4 tee times out there. So from a fan experience, from the golf viewing experience, from the logistics of that, how big that event's gotten. And then also in that market there, that location, there were some challenges there. I just think that, like, operationally, we can learn from it and try to be more efficient and offer better experiences to the people that are paying for the tickets next time when we host it at Hazeltine in a few years. That's really what I meant by that. But we're always doing that. Like, Kerry Hagan and his team are the best in the business. And every terrific PGA Championship or Women's PGA Championship or Ryder Cup, they're making notes. We immediately have meetings to try to improve the next one. And that's what we're talking about. And again, telling the story about it.
Yeah.
Like what we're going to do next time to make sure that the experience is better.
Sometimes people only believe, they only believe what they hear or read and see in the media. And if the story isn't quite poignant enough, then it'll get, the real message will get lost.
That's right. That's
right.
What there was, you look at the fan behavior. Again, the fans were pretty amazing. There were some that crossed the line, and we removed a lot of fans. We could have done a better job about talking about the fans that we removed so people understood, like, they are doing something about it. But there were some fans, and there were some situations for sure that got out of hand, and we tried to do our best to handle that in the moment as much as you can when there's 50,000 people divided amongst 4 tee times, right? It's difficult, but again, we can always learn from it and do better.
Always great to have you in. Thanks
guys.
for what you do.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Be with you, Nate.
Our thanks to Nathan Charnes, the VP of the PGA of America, General Manager at Winghaven Country Club. With Jay, I'm Dan. Just a couple of minutes to wrap up the show. The rollback was something that the rollback of the golf ball stood out to me.
Yep.
The new CEO stood out to me. The host sites, for what they have, stood out to me. I guess, though, the thing that really I'd like to hit on more than anything is PGA Hope and what they're doing for our veterans. I love that Nathan is intimately involved with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Danny, it's when we talked just briefly about it, but when our heroes come back, they just have such a tough time. They're not part of. They've always been part of a team and part of a group, and this gives them just a little bit of purpose to get some fellows and women together and to come out and play some golf, and it gives them something to do and gives them it's challenging as hell.
Yeah.
So they love that part of it. It's amazing. I was honestly surprised when I first saw how impactful it was. I had no idea.
About a minute left. What stood out for you?
I'm most interested in the CEO.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, he's got a big job. I think I know who it is, and that'll be released soon. And we've got some work to do. I love Nathan's take on most of the things that he said about the Ryder Cup. There's some other things, that I think need to be done, but in general, the game is in a great stead. I mean, where our numbers are bigger than ever and the popularity is there, D. We've got to get this back to where it should be and get the U.S. back in the winner's circle. I mean, I know he said it's great to be part of it, but I want to win. I want to win.
Great to be part of the show. Always fun to do it.
Yeah, I love being with you.
How do we end it?
Hit him straight, everyone.